Hello everyone, this is Charlotte and we are chatting in cars. This is the podcast where I talk about random stuff pulled out of a plastic bag. As a warning, there is swearing, there is sensitive topics. Well, there are sensitive topics. Speaking as a teacher, I should probably get my grammar right. It's going to take 45 minutes on this trip because I'm driving back to my house after a slight little shopping expedition. The topic for today is, or the topic for this trip home, I'm sorry if you can hear my jewelry jingling, it's going to be an annoying noise. Hopefully the music in the background covers it up, is op shopping. Yay! I love op shopping, I do. I know some people frown upon it, but I love finding the weird shit, quite frankly. I don't know if I said already, but there is swearing, but yeah, I do swear quite a bit. I don't think you should hold back in expressing yourself, and usually it's positive swearing, so, you know. Chill, Winston. Op shopping, some of the best things you can do. I used to have a business that would resell stuff I bought at op shop online, and it did alright. It collapsed, unfortunately, because, you know, life, and I went through a divorce and everything just collapsed, including my businesses. But generally, I love op shopping. I used to do it as a kid because my parents never had any money. I did it as a teen because it was something to do with your friends. It didn't cost a lot of money. I did it in my 20s because I was a student and couldn't afford like even Kmart price levels stuff. So we used to go up shopping, used to get stuff for like $1. It was awesome. I do it now because I also donate stuff now, actually, even though I've got like a proper job and everything. I donate stuff because, you know, I don't need it. If I got it and I don't fit it, or I don't like it, or if someone else can use it, or if I got too much of it, I just chuck it that way. It's always a good thing to pass on stuff that you don't need. Don't just chuck it. I can't imagine a world where anyone actually just chucks clothes or, you know, like furniture or stuff. It's like, who just chucks it? I don't know anyone that does that. Then again, I grew up in like a low SES area, so it's like we use stuff till it breaks. And if we can't fix it, only then do we chuck it. And even then, we will try to fix it. No one is just, oh, I just bought it because, you know, it's the latest model or something like that. Crazy. No, I love op shopping. I found some weird stuff op shopping. Usually useful stuff though. Like a few times I've had to either, you know, clear out a bunch of stuff and I've had to rebuild. So when I separated from my ex-husband, I got rid of a load of stuff just because it was more crap than I needed to move. I moved into a smaller house. A lot of the stuff I got rid of also was like his stuff as well. It's okay though, because he was the asshole. It's not a problem. No, a lot of his stuff, like he wouldn't get rid of it. I said, look, I need the apartment back by this date so I can renovate it, because he had trashed it when I left. Just that kind of spiteful person. Even though I was renovating it so we could sell it and we could get some money for it. But he had trashed it on the way out, and I'm like, you bastard. So whatever he had left behind, that was including a few things of his, I ended up op shopping or, you know, taking cash converters and selling. And of course I was also in debt then, so I was like paying off like a 10 grand debt. So whatever I got for the stuff I sold, I would put towards my credit card debt. Perks of being married to someone who doesn't want to work. You do tend to go into debt. Yeah. Anyway, so that's a long story in a different podcast. So I'm all coffeeed up now. I've just come back from the errand. So here we go. What can I talk about op shopping? The best ones to go to are usually Salvation Army. Over here in Australia, we've got Salvation Army, Good Sammys, which is Good Samaritans, and Vincent de Paul, which is like the main three. On top of that, you get like Red Cross, the Heart Foundation, RSPCA. These are all sort of mini ones. You could also get like multiple sclerosis. Where I used to live, there was one called St. Patrick's Op Shop, which is like fueling drug recovery and alcohol recovery for addicts, which is cool. Not only do they pay for their rehabilitation, stuff like that, they also find them housing and jobs and stuff like that. That was cool. I like that. So I would tend to aim for places like that. And you can find all kinds of things in there. You can find books and DVDs. I've got most of my DVDs, which I know I'm really old. It's like, who still has DVDs? It's like, I'm 37, dude. I grew up in the era when like VHS was still a thing. And before that, others will say, well, I remember when. you know, cassette tapes and stuff. It's like, I remember when cassette tapes and stuff because, you know, because we were broke, it took forever for us to upgrade to the new technologies. We didn't get a computer until I was, Christ, in my late teens. Like, and it was a household computer. So everybody had to use it. We all had like dial-up and everybody had to, you know, wait for this shit to load. And it was like, oh my God, painful. Like, people get pissed off these days about slow Wi-Fi. It's like, you never had dial-up. And the noise became like a torture device as well while you're waiting for this ringing cymbal to stop. Good times though. It made you appreciate it when you did finally get that download done. But no, you can find all these kind of sort of, at this point it's more like finding artifacts in op shops these days. Just like you can go find a VHS player in an op shop, record players, really old stuff you remember from when you're like a kid and going, I can't believe someone hasn't bought this yet. It's like, this is crazy. But yeah, I definitely could recommend going and op shopping. And it, you know, it cuts down waste as well. It's not just a case of, you know, you're broke and this is all you can afford. It's cutting down waste. It's helping other people. It's giving money to charity. It's all kinds of things. You find some interesting stuff in there. The clothes I found, half of them, when I was going through my 20s, I found some really cool stuff in there. Just because it was like, I mean, of course, you have to bear in mind that I was like wafer thin at that point. So I could wear pretty much anything. I'm not so much wafer thin at this point. I'm 37. I'm not huge, but so the clothes I have to be more select with if I do go up shopping. But yeah, I was going through my goth phase. Some of the best goth clothes I ever had was from an op shop. Weird stuff, and because they cost like next to nothing, of course, so you could pull them apart and sew new bits on and stuff like that and custom them. That was pretty cool. Op shopping was fun. I still do it, so it's still fun. I ran a whole business on op shop clothes for a long time, for a few years there. I think I had like 5 online stores or something like that at one point. And I'd go out and I'd spend like $1,000 at a time just on op shop clothes, and I'd resell them online, and it was pretty cool. I mean, they used to love seeing me come in. It's like, hey, it's you again. I'm like, yeah, it's me. I got a credit card. Awesome. And I'd rock up with these baskets and baskets of stuff. And it's like, I got to take them all, I'm afraid. It's like, but you'd have to be careful, like going op shopping as well. If you're doing it for resale value, you have to look for quality and brands. You can't just grab anything and say, oh, that looks nice. I found that with my businesses, it needs to be like proper labels that people want. Like they'll buy, like 2 items I always found comparable. We have Rockman's over here, and there's another one, Portman's. Rockman's and Portman's. Portman's is the more expensive brand. Rockman's is more accessible, more people will buy it brand. But at the same time, it's like you can buy so much Rockman's stuff in these op shops compared to Portman's. So when you actually find like a Portman's and you list it, it tends to go quite fast. So you want to find the decent brand ones. If you go to an affluent area, for example, their op shops are crazy. You can find so much good shit in there, and then just resell it on eBay. That's what I did. All my stores were on eBay. eBay sucks for taking fees out, but at the same time, if you've got something for like $1 and you've resold it for at least 10, then you're pretty much covering your fees and everything. The buyer buys the postage. You don't have to pay for that. There is a listing fee and a final value fee, but I mean, if you can get into it and get into the habit of renewing your stock and finding good stuff, then you're pretty much plain sailing there. Mine only collapsed because I didn't have the funding to go out and buy more stock, and I didn't manage it very well because I was stressed as fuck and depressed because I was, getting a divorce. Everything went underground with that, including my businesses and uni, and I was in debt and all this kind of shit. So you need to be on top of that if you want that to be a business that you keep going. Most of my kitchen stuff after I moved out from my ex-husband was from an op shop. They have like a plate section. You can get all kinds of cool stuff, weird, quirky stuff as well. Like gimmick gifts. Whereas, oh, that's cute. They'll chuck it in the op shop. I'll go, that's awesome. I'm keeping it and using it every day. So I've got like corgi cups and weird plates and bowls and stuff. Like it's got weird shit on it. I'm like, that's awesome. It's awesome, it's so quirky. So none of my stuff matches, but it looks kind of cool anyway. What else can I say? Accessories, do not, oh, for God's sake, don't buy underwear from an op shop. That's just common sense. God knows who's worn it and what they've worn it for and what they've got wrong with them, you know, STDs and that wise. I never bought underwear, it's no point. It's gross. You also need to absolutely wash it as soon as you get it because it will stink. You want to make sure that you hygienically wash it as well. I boil the shit out of it if you can. But it is fun. I mean, I used to get marks from holding hangers on my wrists. You know, you load yourself up and the weight of the garments, you come out like with war scars from finding bargains. It was awesome. I also used to get like op shop clothes from my sister as well. She used to love op shopping, so we'd all share the same kind of clothes. We were all about the same size. She had a bigger butt than me though. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing these days, because now it's fashionable to have a giant ass. I'm like, that's weird. Okay, but yeah. Good genetics on her part for her current times. Back then, it was not good. It was like, ew. I don't know. Things change. It's weird. What else? You know, you can always stretch. I love Salvation Army because you can actually, they do like this tag cycle. They have colored tags at the moment. So everything that's like this week will be like, say, an orange tag. Everything will be discounted to half price. So you got to pay in mind the tag cycles as well. So if you want to go out and buy stock, or if you want some kind of discount, look for the color codes. Vincent de Paul I always found was more expensive. I think they're taking the piss sometimes when you go in some of their shops. And the prices are comparable to what you'd buy in just a normal shop if you bought it new. So at what point do they get to charge that price where it's a full-blown price for something that someone donated for free? I think that takes the piss, because that's not charity, that's extortion. It probably isn't, but you know, I'm gonna have to check the dictionary for that one. I love going in good Sammys. Sammys is one of my favorites because regardless of whatever brand or size of whatever it is, if you're going down the rack, everything is like $1. They have a set price for everything regardless of brand. Whereas if you go in the salvos, if it's deemed like a decent label, they'll charge more for it. Vincent de Paul is crazy with their prices because they know the brands and they definitely charge more with it. It's like, oh, fine then. I would come back here. But Sammy's, you go in and it's like, if it's a skirt, it's $3. So it doesn't matter if it's, you know, Primark or it's bloody Flower or any of those, you know, more expensive, not Primark, but you know, like Louis Vuitton or some shit like that. There's a lot of fake stuff in there as well, as I found a few good fake bags and sold them online, like Louis Vuitton, and because they bring them back from Bali to Australia. And they're knockoffs, obviously, but they're good knockoffs if people want them. I used to do this thing where I don't know if any of you are crafty or quilters out there. I used to patchwork quilt quite a bit. It's where you take bits of fabric that are all worn fabric and you make it into a new quilt. It's gorgeous. Have you ever watched that movie, How to Make an American Quilt, with Winona Ryder? That's what started me off on it. Yeah, I don't particularly like Winona Ryder, but I love that movie because it's like a stories about women who have had these experiences with their life and they get together for a sewing thing where they make an American quilt, which represents each part of the quilt represents their life or a life story of theirs. It's really good, actually. Definitely a woman's film, although you've got some sensitive men out there, which I would love if they can, you know, enlighten the mind a bit more to understand where women are coming from, because there's a lot of it is tragic stories about women who come together to work on this one quilt. In the end, I think they give it to Winona Ryder or something because she's getting married, something like that, but it's like a hope quilt. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Good movie, go and find it. I don't know if you can find it, it's from like the 90s. But I used to get like old quilt covers and stuff like that from the op shops. You can get, I think from Sammy's you can get a quilt cover, like a queen size quilt cover for $9 or something like that. Which is genius, because like you go to a proper shop, even going to Kmart, quilt cover is about 20, 25 bucks. So I used to get these old ones, and I'd look for the quality ones, of course. You're not going to buy a piece of shit with like pilling on it and stuff like that. And even if it does have pilling on it, you can get a de-pillar and take all that off. Or just like a razor, you can take that off and it'll take it back to its original quality. But Yeah, shaving quilt covers, that's weird, but yes, I've done it. I used to cut them into fat quarters. Now, fat quarter is going into yards and stuff like that. It's about, Christ, what is it in inches? Inches, sorry. It's about half a meter by a quarter of a meter or something like that. And I used to sell them online. I used to get a whole bunch of quilts, like ridiculous, 20, 30 quilts. And I'd do a fat quarter stash, which was a stack of about 50 fat quarters. All cleaned, ironed, trimmed, everything. Just folded up in a stash. And I used to sell them online to, like, obviously you need to put that it's recycled fabric. Otherwise people are going to be like, this isn't new. I was like, no shit. But it's recycled fabric. It was good stuff, good quilt covers and stuff like that. And people would recycle them and upcycle them and make them into patchwork quilts or other cloth projects. I like the whole recycling side of things there myself because I don't like waste. I really don't like waste. The way I was raised is you use fucking everything. Nothing goes to waste, because if it goes to waste, it's like you're being ungrateful. Especially things like food and stuff. Clothes, anything that can be reused. And if you're flat broke, of course, you're going to try and stretch things out as much as you can. So that came in hand with Opshops and stuff like that. Whatever money you got, you go and see if you can expand it further or use it more. Turn a few pennies into a few pounds, you know. But I used to make these fat quarter stacks, and I got quite good at those. I used to do a pack of, I think it was 50, no, it wouldn't have been 50. 25, I remember 25. 25 fat quarters, and I used to sell them for like $20, something like that. I think the cost overheads was something like $5. So you're making a profit there. What else did I used to do? Oh, Christ. This was years ago when I had time. People bought them. They were alright. You got to package them properly, of course. You get like your clear cellophane sticky bags off eBay. You can print off on sticker paper your own labels and stuff like that, and set up your own little craft business. Right now they're doing jelly rolls as well, which is just strips, like about a ruler width strips of, I don't know what they use them for. I suppose like log cabin quilting. Log cabin quilting looks beautiful when it gets going. When people really get good at it, it's gorgeous. I love all that crafty stuff. It's crazy. I can go to like craft fairs and lose my mind. Spotlight is my mecca. Spotlight over here is the fabric, beading, everything. I don't know if you got it over there or what, like in the UK or US or whatever. But Spotlight, Officeworks, Bunnings, heaven. I'm in heaven there. Anything that requires acquiring materials to make something. I love projects. Especially, I've been crafting since I was like a kid. Like, first, you know, like, I don't know if you other guys had them, but they're like, we used to get them as kids. They'd be like a zip-up plastic pencil case, essentially. But you'd have like pipe cleaners and googly eyes and beads, like really shit beads. Like looking back at an adult going, I don't know what the fuck I was going to do with these. And you get like a really cheap, craptacular glue, craft glue that never sticks, but you're like going to give it a go anyway. And I think it was called like Oodles or something like that. The pack was called Oodles. And apparently it was like oodles of fun, and you had like stickers and shit in there, and I used to go crazy over those things. I was like, oh my god, so much shit to use. I love them. I think I got one big pack, and I think I got like another pack later, as when I was a bit older. But yeah, oh my god, that kind of stuff I went to school. And when I was going through my, oh my god, I get fixated, because of my autism, I get fixated on things, and I just sit doing it for hours, like hours and hours and hours, and people look at you crazy. It's like, you're gonna get up and have breaks. No, I'm building stuff, or I'm fixing stuff, or I'm I'm making stuff. It's like, I can't get up until I have done this. So I went through this jewelry making phase where I was like, I was like bulk making jewelry to sell on eBay, as you know, like just mass making and selling on. Wholesale. So I'd buy all the pieces cheaply and then make up the jewelry and sell it in bulk online. And it worked a couple of times. I don't know. There's not much demand for jewelry online through eBay. I don't know what Etsy's like. I've tried selling on Etsy. It's impossible to get anyone to even come to the store so I can see. But I used to, and I'd fixate for hours just making jewelry, and I loved it. And my dad would be looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. I'd go down to their house over weekends, you know, still not a good environment. Weird, strange dad relationship, but But he left me to it, and because he's got similar traits, because he does wargaming. He paints little figures like Napoleonics and stuff like that. My brother does Warhammer. He does orcs and goblins and space wolves and space marines and all that kind of shit. So those two would be sitting there painting, and I'd be sitting there doing my beading and shit, and it would be great. I was interested to see what my brother was painting, actually, because he does Warhammer like crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if both of those two were autistic as well. I was the only one that was like diagnosed. So I'd be sitting there beading, like I'd make like 500 pairs of earrings in a day, just because I was just sitting there fixating. I had my coffee sitting there, and I have white noise in the background. I have some movie on in the background, and I'm sitting there just, you know, jump rings and shepherd's hooks earrings, and you know, like, and I found this intensely interesting. It's like, that's my fixation thing. So most of my beads and stuff came from Opshops and stuff. Like, you buy the basic pieces like the hooks and the clasps off eBay, or you can get it from Spotlight, stuff like that. Spotlight's way expensive for jewelry making pieces. But you know, you can buy them in bulk. I just go DHgate, actually, if that's even still going. I used to be able to get like 500 lobster claw clasps or something for like $1, $5, or something like that. They're cheaply made, you know. I don't know the quality, how long they last until they tarnish, but you know, it's pretty good. I used to bulk make these. I get the beads from the Opshops. I'd take apart cheap old jewelry that was obviously broken or falling apart, and they discount it because it's like broken or falling apart. Or you go to the craft section, sometimes there's like leftover beads or something someone didn't want, or you could like pull them off of old clothes. Sometimes there's beads on clothes, they're like, this is crap clothes, but I like the beads, so I'm gonna keep the beads. So you're repurposing stuff. And I'd make them into the jewelry, especially earrings, and I'd sell them on in bulk. And I'd say, obviously, that they're repurposed jewelry pieces. You know, I just upcycle stuff. It's great for upcycling. I just love doing that, because you feel like you're going out hunting as well. It's not just a case of, oh, I have to go here because I'm broke and I have no other option. It's a case of I'm going out on the hunt, and I used to call that biking. I'm going biking. And I'd hit up like 5 or 6 different Opshops in one day, if it was a half day, depending on how far apart they were. I still love biking, quite frankly, because I felt like I was going out on a hunt, and it's not just a case of, oh, I found a shirt, it's cool. I'm like, I'm going to collect all the fucking shirts. It's like, I'm going to get so many labels, I'm going to do all this. And then you get them home, and you got these massive, big, like, dry cleaning sacks of clothes. Oh, you got to cut all the tags off, you got to clean them all, you got to fold them up, you got to photograph them, list them on eBay. Oh my god. And that's when my autistic hyperfixation really kicked in, because I'm like, I am good at this because I'm designed to do this. This is what I'm good at. I'm going to carry on doing it. And I love doing it. I mean, I must have looked like a nutter, because I would sit there for hours, if not days, just going through the sequencing and prepping this stuff to sell it online. If they ever say that autism is a disability, you know, tell them to fuck off, because it's not. It helped me. I made a lot of money with my fixations. Just because you've got the, you know, you're going to sit down and you're going to do it. But it has to be something that you're honestly interested in. That's the only catch. It's like, if I'm not interested in it, I'm just like, I can't concentrate, dude. If it's something where I'm intensely interested in, I'll sit there for days and do it. It's the weirdest thing. And then you want to find out all the information about it you possibly can, even though it's like mundane crap that no one wants to know about. It's like, I know quite a bit about how to repair clothes because of Opshopping. There's some skills that you'll pick up as well. I know how to convert some things into other things. I know how to take things in if they're too big. You learn all these extra skills from Opshopping. I used to purposely buy clothes too big, so if I wanted to take them in, I could. And I'd get like a, not contour, couture, yeah, let's use the fancy word, couture. You know, you're just fitting it to like a mannequin or something like that. I used to love doing that, and it's the strategizing as well. It's not just a case of, oh, it's too big, I gotta take it in. It's like that you're trying to find ways to fix problems, which I absolutely loved, and I love doing that in projects, craft projects especially. You know, you walk into the classroom and it's like, oh, we got problems. All right, I know this because of this. I'm going to fix this. But if you've got a vested interest in it, like if you're running your own business, and I was for a time, I'm still running my own business. I got like 1, 2, 3, 4 stores or something online. Different areas. I'm doing all kinds of things. You know, painting, selling coffee, making letter sets, all kinds of things. I just like the entrepreneurial side of things. I love the strategy involved with problem solving, stuff like that, and the idea of making something new and going with it, you know, and expanding it. I'm having a problem with marketing, but at the same time, I think everyone has problems with marketing because I'm not familiar with it. I know the production side of things. The marketing side blows my mind. I've got to figure out how to do that still. Because I've got a Shopify at the moment, I've not got any traffic coming to it, so I'm like, what's the deal there? So I've got to look into that a bit more. But that's me, going off on a tangent. Right now, if I wanted to, I could probably start up another Opshopping clothes. I've got a few Opshopped items online as an auction right now, just because I'm trying to clear them out. I had one eBay store where I was like, oh yeah, I'll go back to doing my old stores and things like that. And I think I started with like 50 things, and I'm like, well, it's a bit slow and I'm a bit bored with this. I might just auction it off, get rid of it, and concentrate on the coffee business I've got, and letter writing sets and paintings. Just because, you know, so it's a lot of overhead to go and, you know, re-establish my Opshops online, because you're still paying for the objects, you know. Whereas if you're painting, I can, you know, paint anything really. That's why I go to Opshops as well, because I want to find things to paint. Like you can find old chopping boards and things like that, and I want to say updo, but no, upcycle. Thank you, Reddit fans. You've got updo in my head now. You know, upcycle stuff, because you don't waste it, and no one's using it. And if it's like this wooden stuff is the best stuff you can get, because you just put a base coat of paint on it, and you know, away you go. Oh, look, the fluffy cat's back. Sorry, I've just pulled into my driveway. I've got this really fluffy, you know, grumpy cat. There's a grumpy cat that lives near my apartment, and it does vague stuff. And right now it's scratching around in the sand. I'm like, I gotta go pet that cat. One day it's gonna let me pet it, and then I'll be in heaven. But anyway, I'm a bit weird. But no, you can always find like cool stuff, sourcing materials in Opshops. So I highly recommend it. If anyone ever looks at you funny, just, you know, laugh maniacally and keep going. Why should they care? It's not their money. You're saving money, you're saving the environment, you're showing your community that you care, you're giving a charity, all kinds of things. It's none of their business. I mean, it used to be that, you know, it was frowned upon because, oh, you get money, can't afford new stuff. But I came from an area where everybody was op shopping, or everyone was using like food banks and stuff like that, so it didn't really fucking matter. If someone rocked up to school with some weird clothes on, weird shoes they found in an op shop, like they would obviously try and decorate them or something like that. The kids are creative, man. They got like glitter and all kinds of stuff. It's like, oh, I got these shoes in an op shop. Awesome, let's draw all over them. Yeah, let's draw all over them. It's like, that's the perk. So the parents aren't going to get angry because it's like, oh, we got it from an op shop, who cares? And we're just going to destroy it within a month or so anyway, because kids kick shoes through. So, you know, it allowed for creativity as well. It wasn't just a case of if you bought it from a shop that you weren't allowed to destroy it, you had to look after it as much as possible. If they got it from an op shop, yeah, go nuts. Customize and everything. So I love that side of things, because it also allows kids to be creative. It's not just a case of, you know, you have to act a particular way. You can put your spin on stuff. I used to get boring clothes from an op shop, and you know, like I'd be painting and beading and sewing things on, especially my goth phase. I used to get cloth from Spotlight, one thing I was trying to do once, I was trying to make those gloves. You know, there's the netting gloves, which are like fishnet stockings. But we used to always also have like, every time Halloween came around, there'd be like this netting stuff that's like spider webs. Like lace, but spider webs. Or I used to actually do the Lolita lace gloves as well. And I used to try and make it into like, you know, like evening gloves and stuff like that, like fingerless ones. I used to love doing that because you can get that material quite cheap in small amounts. So I'd take that kind of material and I'd add it to anything that was boring and black I'd picked up from an op shop. And you'd come up with these weird funky designs. It was pretty cool. And then you go to your little goth parties or get-togethers and you're like, oh my god, I love your boots, or I love your stuff. And it's like, and it was like a kind of creative competition to see, you know, who could come out with the wackiest cool clothes. It's like they'd made it themselves or they'd decorated themselves. I mean, only like really pretentious assholes would go to some kind of proper goth shop. I don't know what the equivalent is I mean, I think ours was Dangerfield or something like that, but it was super high price and no one could afford it. And we were all looking at it like, oh, it's great, it's fabulous, but no. It was like 50, 60 bucks for a pair of pants. No. All because it's got like a chain on it, or it's bondage pants or some shit like that. It was always in the hundreds or something like that. It's like if we ever bought anything like that, it was investment, and it was always something like Doc Martens. And if you got high top Doc Martens, man, you were swimming in money. I'm talking like the 15 holes or whatever they were, like knee-high ones. Like, holy shit, how did you get those? Well, I actually ordered them online from eBay. And it's like, oh, I see. So, yeah, it was always self-made. Opshops promoted creativity, and everyone pulled together. And if we had one thing that another person could have used, or if you had leftover fabric scraps, craft stuff, you passed it on to someone else. It was always some kind of fun get-together stuff. I used to have a friend called Sarah who was really good at making stuff, and she'd make like craft boxes and stuff like that from stuff she found in an op shop. She was always baking and cooking. She was a very interesting goth. I've got her on my Facebook, so I'm gonna have to try and contact her again now. She lives in Germany, I think. Anyway, so thing to take away from this after me rambling on a caffeine high. Op shops are great. They promote creativity. They're good for the environment. They promote social cohesion. It's helping charity. It's helping each other. It's so many good things to it. Don't look at the stigma attached to it. It's got nothing to do with anyone not having any money. It's all to do with doing the right thing and looking after the planet and looking after each other. So don't stress the small stuff. Go and find some cool weird shit. I always look for the novelty and the anomalies and everything because I just like the weird stuff. To be honest, everything's basic is boring. Go and find some creative stuff. It's Saturday. I'm going to go and hopefully keep going with my podcasts and working. At the moment, I've got 3 things going. I've got podcasts exporting from Videomaker, podcasts uploading to YouTube, and I'm also sitting there doing my painting, my canvases and stuff, so I can sell them in my eBay store. So I'm hoping the caffeine doesn't wear off before I finish my canvases. Because I've also got to like photograph and upload them and all that kind of shit to my Shopify and all kinds of things. So my Saturday is somewhat constructive. I do like my projects. I still haven't got around to writing my books and my chapters and stuff like that. I think it's going to be after the school holidays thing. And I've got a whole bunch of Teachers Pay Teachers resources to do as well as uploading letter paper sets to eBay as my other stores. So I'm hoping you have a more chill weekend than I do. But I like this. This is my recreation. I love my project. And it's like, I look forward to this stuff during the week while I'm teaching someone else's kids. This is how I relax. Yeah, so have a great weekend, okay, guys? I'm going to leave it for now. I will see you guys on Monday. I know there's going to be a podcast on Monday because I've got another 45-minute drive to work. So I might do 2 on the one day. I'll check where I have to be for the week. Take it easy, okay? Definitely try out Opshops. They're awesome. You can find some really cool, weird shit there. I'll see you guys later. Bye.